What is up, lads and lasses? Back at it again, and we got another trailer. Yep, another trailer, and let me say, this trailer actually excited me more than any of the other trailers. We got a lot of cool shots, a lot of cool story implications, and yeah, let's get right into it. So, obviously right here, once again, we're looking at Bursa, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but to me, this castle, again, it just doesn't really represent to me the grand scale of Bursa. It doesn't, like, hype me up. You know, this castle looks smaller than that castle in Ertugrul Season 3 where Vasilius was in. I think it was, like, Kutlu Jaysar or something like that. So, I feel like they shoulda, coulda, woulda made the castle a little more grand. But it's fine, it's fine. Now, Orhan over here is trying to convey that they should have a bigger army, or like a standing army that's like ready to go at the helm. I think that's like his ambition, and he has a little conflict with Osman. I think the main conflict that's going to happen in this season is youthful vigor versus experienced wisdom. So that's going to be the main theme of the arc. Now, one thing that we get here is that Orhan is planning like a night raid to try to infiltrate Bursa and conquer the castle from within. He's obviously leading this initiative, as can be seen by having the rest of the prominent squad members on this shot. We see that Orhan is heading into the headquarters. Obviously, I think this is the besieging headquarters where they're doing all the preparations and setup to conquer Bursa. Osman talking to his grandkids, Orhan's sons, about unity and how being together makes the tribes stronger. Now, I wonder why are they making Osman wear a bandana in this? In this trailer, most of it just kind of shows how Orhan has his eyes set on Bursa, like, completely, and he really I think he's tired of waiting, right? I think Osman is playing the long game, the more methodical conquest, because Bursa is a very key strategic point in trying to conquer the west and that kind of thing. And I think Orhan is just kind of sick of waiting, and he really feels like it's time to hit the iron while it's hot. We see in this shot that Boran is signaling to the squad that to try to come in, like this is the time. As we saw in the last trailer, he infiltrated the castle and he worked as a spy, so he's just doing his job here. Now, I didn't really like this shot because this is clearly the Inegol castle, right? The Inegol interior that we saw like all throughout Season 2 and Season 3, and it really, really bothers me seeing sets being recycled, especially given that this is supposed to be like a kind of a soft reboot and a whole brand new show. I really feel like they could have dismantled and sold this off rather than selling off the Season 5 Osman Palace. But one good thing about this is you can see here that these characters are praying, right? They're praying before they eat, and that kind of gives us a hint that these guys have gratitude. They're good and honorable characters, so this could be a hint that these characters will have nuance, that they're not just complete bad guys, just complete straight black and white evil villains. And that's good, because that's something I've been hoping for the longest time with the show, is to have a nuanced, interesting villain. Like, Ertugrul did that. Ertugrul did that very well, but all of Osman was, I think most of their villains were, like, very clear-cut evil. Now, we see right here that the infiltration plan has been sabotaged. Boran gets shot with a couple of arrows, to the squad's dismay. I mean, obviously you can see they're shocked, that we're not expecting this. Especially not Orhan. And Boran takes a second shot, so by the end of this episode, he's either gonna die or be gravely, gravely injured. And this sets Orhan off. This kind of really emphasizes the youthful vigor. Like, he sees his buddy getting shot, he's not gonna think twice about running headfirst into the fire to go save his friend. Which is exactly what he does. You can see the kind of majority of this army. I wouldn't call it an army, but the majority of this set of troops goes charging into the castle, led by Orhan. And then you can clearly see this is a trap, denoted by the fact that the Byzantine warriors are dropping barrels of hot oil around the perimeter of the castle. So I really do feel like that this was a premeditated attack. They knew that Boran was a spy. They knew that the night raid was going to happen, and they kind of lured them into the castle, and then they're just going to be picking them off here. You can see they're dropping more oil, which, by the way, is a absolutely devastating way to get injured on the battlefield. That is just brutal. So you can see here there's going to be a nice little battle, but obviously you can see just around the perimeter of this castle, they have a bunch of archers ready to pick them off one by one. So yeah, this is a trap. Orhan fell deep into the trap. Now, at the very least, I think this is going to give us a chance to showcase Orhan's choreography skills, you know, the actual actor. In this shot, we can see someone getting tortured. It's probably Boran, but I don't know, because in the previous shots, we saw him get, like, absolutely sniped by a bunch of arrows. So this could be someone else after being captured, but looking deep into it, this looks like Boran to me. One underlying theme of this season, which is hinted at with these trailers, is that Alaaddin is not going to be able to have kids, and so Gonja might have to find him a second wife. So that's obviously going to be like a B or C plot. Now, I wanted to say this is a beautiful shot. Look at that. Gotta love golden hour filmmaking. I mean, this is the best time to shoot beautiful shots, either, you know, before sundown or just at sunrise. Don't know who this is, don't care. Also don't know who this is, also don't care. Now you can see here Orhan is obviously trapped in a cage. I think he's been captured. So his plan was foiled. He jumped the gun a little too early. He didn't have the foresight. Obviously Osman is going to use this against him. So this is wild. And then we see Alaaddin screaming at the top of his lungs. Somebody was probably killed, injured, something devastating is going to happen in this scene. And by the way, I think this is the last scene of the episode. This guy's looking smug. The reason why I say it's the last scene of the episode is, you'll see later. So this shot right here looks to me like Orhan either escaped or there was a deal made, because, you know, him and his boys look beat up. You can tell by looking at the backs of their attires that there's just dusty and marks and scratch marks and so on and so forth. So this is definitely after that little battle occurred. And they failed miserably. Now this shot right here shows that the main villain has a brother who he deeply cares about. You know, as all siblings do, he wants to protect his younger brother. Probably giving him some advice or something. And this is going to be what sets off his character arc for the start of the season, because the immediate next shot we see is Orhan, you know, killing his brother in Minecraft. So yeah, you can see that this is what sets off the main villain's arc. He just absolutely mollywops, finishes this brother pretty easily. So I think that this is, so I think, you know, the episode's going to start with an introduction, and then Orhan and his crew are going to go do this little interception where they, you know, beat up these guys at the sea. He takes out the main villain's brother. Main villain gets really upset. There's going to be some council, some exposition, and then I think the very final scene is going to be this night raid, this failed night raid where they all get captured and someone gets, you know, killed in Minecraft. As you can see right here, the brother is absolutely devastated by witnessing his brother's death in Minecraft. I think that, you know, I really hope there's going to be nuance. We've seen like 3 or 4 different times where like a main villain's brother was terminated, and then their entire like arc or their entire like motivation is to get revenge, and it's just usually like kind of falls flat on its face because it's just like a really, you know, silly, petty plot device. And another problem is usually we don't get enough time with the siblings to see their sibling relationship to actually feel some empathy. And obviously they usually paint the villains black and white. In Kurulus they did it, and Kurulus was very nuanced, so you could sometimes see where the villain was coming from, right? Or the villain was super charismatic like Noyan, and you're like, you didn't care, like this guy is just really cool, I support him. But with this villain, we'll have to see. I mean, they can do really do a good job of, you know, introducing the characters and getting us attached to the brothers, and then having some empathy for, you know, this guy witnessing his brother's termination. But we'll see what happens. I just hope this guy doesn't end up being a mustache twirling 2D villain. He really doesn't look the part. He looks like he's gonna be pretty good, but we'll see. And then Orhan over here is just looking at a flame. I think this is a metaphor for the fire that he has brought upon his tribe and his people, with his kind of impulsive actions. So he's feeling bad, I guess, or some regret. Now right here we see a scene of Orhan and this new character who actually, I read the blurb about him in the poster, and it seems like he's going to be an aide, a very intelligent aide. I think he's going to serve a role similar to the purpose that Artuk Bey played in Ertugrul, And that's really good, if they can acknowledge that, hey, like, our main character is great, but nobody can do things alone. Everyone needs help, and that's kind of a good step in the right direction. Orhan over here flipping tables the same way I flip tables on a Sunday, realizing I have to go, to school or work on a Monday, so back to the grind. Now this right here, in my opinion, will be the final shot of the episode, with Orhan glaring at the main villain across, a shield barrier. And the main villain glaring back smugly, looking at Orhan and declaring his kind of victory. And then you can see here, the final shot is Orhan in a cage, so he definitely was captured, right? So I'm thinking that Orhan is going to end up getting captured, and then Osman or someone has to save him by making a deal that really, hits a big blow on the Kai's preparations to capture Bursa. So that's going to be really bad for Orhan. And the shot ends with this, a beautiful shot indeed. Make that my screensaver. I mean, this is wonderful. But yeah, honestly, this trailer did a lot to impress me. They have obviously new sets, not really sets. They found new locations that they had permission to film in, which is amazing, right? Obviously the beach scene is the same one they had in the past. Yeah, stuff looks good. Sets look really nice and detailed. Costumes look really nice and detailed. The actors look like they're really playing their parts. I'm glad to see some familiar favorites like Cherkutai and Boran. And I think the actors are trying really hard. The villain looks compelling. He looks compelling. I don't know if he is, but he looks compelling. Bursa is kind of, in my opinion, disappointing. It doesn't look like a castle that, deserved to be hyped up for like 3 or 4 seasons. It just looks like any regular castle. They should have made it a lot bigger, and I do not like that they recycled the Inigo set. However, all in all, 7 out of 10. This trailer definitely did excite me a bit more than the other trailers. I'm hyped. Sunday cannot come soon enough. Do let me know if you guys want to watch. I can do I'm throwing like a little watch party. Hit me up. I'll send you guys to the Discord, and we can see if we can schedule a time to watch the first episode all together. So let me know. Thanks all. Let me know what y'all think. Like, comment down, subscribe down below, and yeah, peace out, y'all. Have a good rest of your days. Have a good weekend.